This is our 10:30 a.m. slot with head coach Scott Satterfield of Appalachian State. Coach, good morning. How you doing?
Doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. For members of the media on the call, please press star one to ask questions for Coach Satterfield. Coach, why don't you get us started with an opening statement on your expectations for the 2017 season?
Yeah, I think, first of all, just excited to get the season started. It was exciting to see some college football this weekend. And, for our ball team, it's been obviously a good camp, and we're just ready to get going. And, we're facing a team out of the SEC with Georgia, who's one of the better teams in the country this year, and, picked to win the SEC East. And we recognize of how talented they are and how many players are coming back. I think the experience that they have coming back is one of the things that, for us, that's going to make it really challenging, because those guys have played so much ball and really been a really solid football team. And anytime you bring a guy back, quarterback-wise, two running backs like they have, and then a defense that's loaded with guys that have played a ton of football, it's going to be very challenging. But one that our kids are looking forward to, and we're excited about playing. So, with that, we'll open up with questions.
Sure. Thanks, Coach. Again, as a reminder to members of the media, please press star one at any time to get in the queue to ask questions. We'll go to our first questions from Steve Bear. I believe, Steve, you're with the Watauga Democrat. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir. Good morning,
all right,
Scott.
Thank you. Go ahead, Steve.
Good morning.
Morning. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Let that be one of my questions. Just kind of, if you would, delve into Georgia a little more. Especially their running game. They've got two really good running backs coming back. Just kind of talk about what it'll take to stop them and what makes them go.
Yeah, very, very talented two running backs, and two running backs that I think will be playing for a long time in the NFL, and they just got extreme talent. They've been there for quite some time now, and they're going to rely heavily on that running game. I think for a couple reasons. I think obviously they're really good. I think there may be a little bit inexperienced at wide receiver this year, and so I think one of their strengths obviously is going to be handing the ball to those backs, and there's not any drop off between one or the other, and so those guys will continue to be fresh throughout a game and probably really hungry to carry the ball, and it also takes pressure off the quarterback, and even though he's not a freshman anymore, he's a sophomore, so I think with the offensive line, another year under their belt, and with those backs, I think they're going to be very solid on defense. They know that, and so they just run the football and control the game that way. That they'll give them a great chance to win.
Kind of, you mentioned their offensive line. Just kind of go a little bit deeper on them. What?
I think people, if you just read about them and from last year and what things that were said, was maybe that was not one of their strong suits. But I think coming into this year, what we're reading about is maybe a true freshman will be in their starting lineup, and so obviously if you're a true freshman, you got to have some talent there, and so for him be a part of that line. I think that the other guys are a year wiser, a year older, a year more experienced, going through another off season. All those things I think make those guys to be a solid bunch, and everything that we're reading. I mean, obviously we don't know, we haven't seen them play this year, but going off of what we're reading, that they had a better spring and a better fall camp, and so those guys, I think will be a lot better coming into this season.
And lastly, just on their defense, I hear it's really solid. They got several starters back. You obviously want to run the ball. How tough a task is that going to be?
Well, that's going to be extremely difficult. I mean, as you look at their front seven in particular, I mean, they have tremendous size. Their shortest guy across their front is 6'4", and one of their outside linebackers is 6'6", 240, and they're really impressed with their two linebackers that usually are in the box, number 3 and number 6, and those two guys are awesome football players. They make a lot of tackles for them. They can run. They have the size, and man, they're just really, really talented. And so, you're looking at their front seven. It's extremely difficult to get any kind of movement out of those guys, and with their length, they cover up so many holes. And everybody that plays against them has a hard time running the football, and we recognize that. And so you just try to find some ways to get the ground attack moving a little bit so you can try to stay on the sticks. But it's going to be a difficult task for us, and our guys up front are going to have to play, a great football game in order to run the football.
Is it on par with Clemson a couple of years ago?
Yeah. As far as their front seven goes, there's no question. Clemson was very experienced and guys that could run, play. They had the size, and very, very similar. I think anytime for us, we're playing. We played Tennessee last year, or Miami, or Clemson. They're in the same ballpark with the rest of those guys. Those kind of defenses. I think all those defenses that we've played have been, by the end of the season, they're top 20 defenses, and they're right on par with the same kind of caliber talent.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Steve. We'll go next to David Rogers. David, if you could you provide your media outlet and then go with your questions?
Yeah, David Rogers, Blowing Rock News, blowingrocknews.com. Scott, I guess the natural follow-up to the challenge that you might have in the running game is how do you feel your wide receiving core stacks up against the Georgia secondary?
Yeah, I think number one, I think we've had a really good camp and a good off season for the wide receiver room. We brought in some talented receivers that are young players but very talented that will play for us this year. And as I look into their secondary, they have a ton of experience. I see 3 seniors and a junior, penciled in as their starters. And so anytime you're playing a defensive backfield that's played a ton of football, we're watching all the games from last year. These guys have played a lot. They've played man. They've played zone. They've done a lot of different things. They can come up and tackle. But I like our guys. I like the way our guys have been playing. And I think that our guys will go out and be able to make some plays. I mean, obviously we got to go out and execute and do the things that we've been teaching them to do. And I think they will, though. But I do think the defense that we're playing this year, the Georgia defense, is one of the better defenses we've played over the last few years.
Thank you.
Okay, David, thank you very much. And Coach Satterfield, thanks very much for your time this morning. We appreciate it, and best of luck.
All right. Thank you. See you now.